What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are starting our very latest rebuild, the 2007 Honda CBR 600RR. We do not need these, so we can get rid of this taillight now. So I'm just gonna rip these off. Here we go. LEDs are now out of the bike. Rotor. We don't need these because they're bent. And the other rotor. I did notice that it looks like the subframe on the bike is a little crooked. It looks like it's kind of cockeyed to the side a little bit. So I think I'm gonna have to get a new subframe. And plus, we have this battery tray is just blown to pieces. There's a bunch of cracks in it. So I think what I'm really gonna need to do is just buy a whole new subframe with the battery tray, and then we'll take this one off, install the new one, and then we will be good to go. There we go. So the frame on this bike is damaged. Down here by the motor mount, you can see it's kind of dented in right there. And there's also another spot. So there's this spot and also up here, If I pull that back, we can see there's a dent in the frame also, and a tiny, 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 tiny little hairline crack right there. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna continue to strip this bike down, take the front end off, drop the motor, take the exhaust off, and we're gonna get this frame completely stripped down. A little bit of heat and some penetrating oil, and it helps get those rusted bolts out. Booyah! This looks like the bike completely blew apart. I've got the airbox, radiator, exhaust, subframe, just a bunch of parts laying all over. It looks like the bike blew apart. But over here is the frame. Right there is where there was that little dent. And down here is also that other area where the frame has some damage. I actually did get the old frame repaired, but for safety reasons and some liability reasons, I did buy a new frame, and that's in the box right there. But first I want to show you guys the repairs to that old frame. Right here is where there was that big dent in there. I had a friend of mine fill that in with some aluminum. He's a professional welder, and he filled that in with aluminum weld. And down here, same thing, filled it in, ground it down so it's flush with the frame, and everything is looking good now. So this frame I'm gonna use for like my personal bike. I'm gonna probably create like a track bike out of this frame. But for this build, I'm gonna use the new frame that I bought. It's a clean title, not damaged frame. So let's open this box and check out the new frame. I'm gonna take these stickers off of the swing arm just because they're kind of tacky. So I'm gonna get the heat gun and try and remove these also. All right, we are starting to get somewhere. I've got the motor in the frame now. I've got all the motor mount bolts attached to the motor, except for this one because I can't find the spacer for it. I'm sure it's somewhere underneath in the middle here. We got our wheels back from powder coat. These are the same wheels that were originally that black and red. They were painted originally. These are now powder coated a gloss white, looks super clean. So I'm gonna get the rear rotor on now. I'm gonna use some red Loctite to tighten up those bolts and keep those secure. We do not want those bolts backing out. All right, so we've got our throttle bodies on there now. We've got our coil packs in. We've got all of our vacuum, our air hoses routed. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is put the air box on. All right, so I've got pretty much everything plugged back in, everything routed where it's supposed to be for the wiring harness, and everything is looking super nice, super good, and it did actually go back together a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. The only thing that I did notice when I first picked up the bike, I did notice that these wires were kind of ripped and torn apart. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and splice these wires back together. I'm gonna get my soldering iron out. We're gonna kind of pull back some of the plastic, get those soldered, and that should tie everything else with our electrical system all back together. All right, so I've got all of these wires soldered together. I've also got the shrink tubing around those so that way we have a nice clean connection and they're not gonna short out between each other. So we've got that old radiator off. This is the side that was all squished in right here. You can see it's pretty much flat right there. So that wasn't gonna allow very good flow for the coolant. And another reason why I wanted to take this off was because the fan on the back is pretty much right up against the back of the radiator and it's rubbing a little bit. So we have a little bit of, clearance issue with that. So I'm gonna grab the new radiator and we're gonna slap that on here and we should be good to go then. All right, so right here we have our old radiator. Here is our new donor replacement radiator. You can see, the old one, the fan wouldn't really spin that well. This one spins super nice. And we also have this other side that is not dented in. Got that nice round tube. So we should get awesome flow of the coolant through that radiator. So we can scrap this one and we will install this one now. All right, there we go. So even with that quick little clean and detail, that carbon fiber is shining, no more dust on there. This thing is looking like brand new. So thank you again to that Gunk Engine Shine. Again, I will leave a link in the description if you guys want to purchase some of this. I use this stuff for everything. And also the link, if you guys purchase it through that link, I will get a slight commission off of any purchase of this product through that link. And that'll help out the channel with no additional cost to you guys. So now let's move forward with getting this nice clean exhaust back on the bike. And just like that, we have both of our forks done. Now these are all completely rebuilt. We've got new seals, new oil. Let's get these back on the bike. So we're going to get rid of these red lines, and these are actually more of just a regular stainless steel braided brake lines, not necessarily a white, but these are going to look a lot better than the red that was on the bike. Let's see if this thing fires up. Awesome, awesome. So now that we have the chain on the bike, that is all set, all tightened up. I also ended up getting the new brake reservoir for our front brake master that we just got in the mail, so I'm going to be installing that next. But first thing, before I wanted to move on to that, I did want to show you guys the new gauge cluster. Now, right here is what the gauge used to look like, you know, that boring old orange color. And now what we have here is I customized it with the ice blue LEDs. Totally gives the whole cluster a fresh look, and I think this is going to complement the color of the fairings on the bike much better. So now let's move on to getting that front brake reservoir back on here, and we will move forward with this build. These really aren't too flashy. It's gonna be nice and simple with the light blue, the light gloss blue, and the white. I think the white wheels are really gonna accent these white decals also very nice. So again, this set of fairings is from Auckmarts. Now, I bought this set of fairings. I've had this set of fairings for probably about a year now. I actually purchased this prior to me getting sponsored by Auckmarts. So it just kind of goes to show that I've been, you know, buying their fairings all along. So again, the quality with this paint is super nice. We've got a nice glossy finish on all of these fairings. We've got the matte finish on the side fairing. So I think this is gonna come together really nice. So if you guys are interested in getting a set of fairings just like this for a bike that you're rebuilding, be sure to check out auckmarts.com. I'll put a link in the description to this exact set of fairings. And if you guys want, you can use promo code RK Motorsports at checkout, and that's gonna save you a little bit of cash off the top when you order your fairings. So be sure to check out auckmarts.com. So let's work on getting these fairings on the bike, and let's start getting this thing back together. I got sponsored on this video by Moto Dynamic, and they sent me this sick set of headlights for the CBR 600 build, but these things look awesome. Now just look at the OEM compared to this. This just has awesome aesthetics. We've got like the daytime running light, 3 projector headlights. This thing is gonna look sick. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install that on the bike. If you guys wanna check out motodynamic.com, they have a lot of really nice aftermarket parts for your typical sport bikes, you know, Honda, CBR, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, what have you. But they have some really nice aftermarket parts. So huge shout out to Moto Dynamic for hooking me up with the headlights for this bike. So next we're gonna slap that on and continue reassembly of these fairings. Yes, look at that. So fresh, so clean. Looking sexy. All right, guys, take a look at this thing. This is awesome. This came out super nice, way better than I thought it was gonna be. I love the white wheels. We have the nice blue with black and white. We've got the white decals. This thing is looking awesome. I'm so happy with how this turned out. Got the nice Yoshimura pipe there. Oh yes, this thing is beautiful. Now, I still have to take this thing for a test ride. But, you know, right now I'm just kind of doing a quick walk around the bike. Look at this thing. Oh, this thing is so beautiful. I wish I could keep this bike, but unfortunately it's already sold. And now let's take a look at this gauge cluster. Just again, here, I'll turn this light off. Oh yeah, again with that blue, just matching blue all throughout the bike. This is probably one of my favorite bikes so far. Here, let me turn the headlights on. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Now these are it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard to see, but you know, oh yeah, there we go. We've got the daytime running lights. with those LEDs in the headlight. Those things look sick. Huge shout out to Moto Dynamic. I'll put the link to their website down below in the description if you guys are interested in getting some headlights that are similar to this. Super happy with how these lights turned out. And again, these are sequential. Well, not sequential, but these are also hooked up to our turn signals. So when we go left and right, we have those daytime running lights flashing also. Those things look sick. All right, so I've got this thing outside finally. These bikes always look totally different once you get them outside in the sunlight. This blue is absolutely beautiful. This color is popping. My wheels are still a little bit dirty, but you know, we're just gonna rock it. We're gonna test ride this thing, see how it runs. So let's hop on and take her for a ride. Oh, sounds good. Fired right up. This thing is smooth. You know, honestly, I probably say that about every bike that I ride, but this one is very smooth. Considering the mileage, I think it's got like 27,000 miles, and the condition that it was originally before I rebuilt it, this thing runs super smooth. Front brakes are working good. Handles very well. This is a beautiful bike. I'm actually very sad that I have to let this thing go. This is by far one of my favorite bikes that I've ever done, especially with this color scheme. Another successful test ride. So I just got done with the test ride, and unfortunately it looks like we do have a small leak underneath the bike. It's the coolant, I can tell because it's green and where it's coming from. And I just looked on the top here, and it looks like it's coming from one of the hoses where it clamps to the top of the radiator. So that's going to be a super simple fix. The bike ran awesome, shifted nice, ran smooth, super responsive. So all I have to do is just tighten up that little clamp on the hose for the radiator, and this thing is all set. I am super happy with how this came out. Let me know in the comments how you guys think this thing looks. This thing is beautiful in my opinion. Let me know what you think about the blue, the white wheels, how this thing in general came out compared to how it originally looked. I'll pop a picture right here of, you know, how the bike looked like originally to give you guys a reminder. And yeah, let me know your feedback. If you guys like this content, if you like the start to finish rebuild of this bike, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, smash it. Let me know your feedback. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Rob with RK Motorsports signing out. Peace. Take it easy, guys.